Hello again. Thank you again for coming out and helping us share these important messages with our travelers. I'm Ann Meyer with MnDOT. I'll introduce our 5 speakers, and then they'll each go in their order, and then we'll take some questions at the end, but ideally we'll hold off those questions until we get through their various statements. Today, speaking in order, we have Todd Krause with the National Weather Service. He's a meteorologist there. Jed Falgrind, he's our MnDOT Acting State Maintenance Engineer. Mike Gow, he is a snowplow operator out of our Chaska truck station. He was hit, actually, and so he's going to talk a little bit about that experience. Lieutenant Gordon Shank with the Minnesota State Patrol is here, and Kevin Reed, our Deputy Director of Minnesota Homeland Security and Emergency Management. So again, yes, we'll take some questions at the end, but we'll allow our speakers to come up and address you guys. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Todd Krause, National Weather Service out of Chanhassen, warning coordination meteorologist. And just want to let you know that we've got warnings issued all the way from Colorado and Wyoming through Minnesota up to upper Michigan, and for heavy snow and strong wind. So we're looking at 8 to 12 inches of snow, winds maybe gusting to 30, 40 miles per hour. It's going to be bad. The snow is going to come down hard. It's going to come down fast. Visibility will be very, very poor during the height of the snowstorm. So that's the issue that is going on. A lot of heavy snow, a lot of very strong wind. We'll be issuing updates throughout the storm, and so just follow the Weather Service, follow the meteorologists for further information.
Good morning, I'm Jed Falgrind with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. I'm our acting state maintenance engineer, and certainly our crews have been preparing for events like these for a long time. We have been we take our snow and ice responsibility incredibly seriously, and while we've had several small events around the state, this obviously is our first big hitter for the season. It's not something that's new to us. We're just going to put our boots back on, get our plows ready to go, and go out and hit the road. The salt is in the bins, the brine and our other specialty liquids are in the tanks, and so we're going to be ready to go. We've got about 800 plow trucks that will be out on the roadway fighting this storm. That'll be staffed by about 1,800 operators working out of 150 different locations. So we're going to be quite well spread out, ready to attack whatever does come our way. Snow and ice removal is what we do, and we're very proud of the things that we're doing. This storm specifically, some of our greatest challenges that we're worried about is with the heavier, wetter snow, the potential of some compaction that'll end up building during the event. We do have some times where we're expecting over an inch an hour of snowfall, and that coupled with some very high winds is going to make it a bit of a challenge in terms of visibility for motorists. Obviously, the motorists, we're going to be wanting to follow what we're doing, communicate with them, and we certainly want to make sure that as the event goes on that we are indeed helping them out as best we can. Our team is also monitoring a second weather system that will come in over the holiday weekend. Details will come a little bit more as that information comes on board, but we will again have those same crews ready to go. So what can travelers do, and what do we ask travelers to do during this time? The first thing is stay weather aware. And be watching and be looking at the various sources for weather information. They're all over the place. And certainly be taking a look at those things. Look at our 511mn.org website, our 511 app. That'll give you the latest road conditions out there. And from there, you can take a look at, is this the right time for me to travel? Do I need to adjust my travel plans? Or should I maybe just allow a little bit extra time? With slow enough speeds, you can make it most places. And so while you're out there traveling, we certainly want to ask the first thing, slow down. Slow down, slow down. Headlights on, cruise control turned off. We want to make sure that you're avoiding distractions, that you are allowing the biggest piece for us, and you're going to hear some more here from Mike after me, is just giving space. Allow us space to work. Allow extra space for drivers around you. Somebody may make a minor mistake. We don't want a minor mistake to result in a significant incident. And those crashes obviously can create a tremendous problem for added congestion here in the metro area. And it also can put you in significant danger out in a rural area if you're having a crash and no one else is around to find you. So certainly slow down, We talk about stay back, stay alive. It's certainly not. It's a statement that really conveys what we believe that the potential seriousness of one of these crashes might occur. And certainly a double impact for us is when we have a crash that involves a member of the public with one of our pieces of equipment. And I want to introduce Mike Gow from our Chaska truck station now to come on and tell you a little bit about what happened to him last winter when he was out plowing for MnDOT.
Good morning, I'm Mike Gow, a tow plow operator out of Chaska. Last year I was plowing 13 to go 169 northbound. We were cleaning out the ramp, so we swing over to clean all the snow from left to right. I swung in to clean the ramp. I swung back out with the trailer swung out, and there's a semi going to pass me. The semi caught my trailer and threw me sideways, dragged me down the ramp a little bit, closed the ramp for a while. You just need to give us our room. We don't ask for a lot, just respect the tow plows. We're out there to clean the roads and make the roads safe for the motoring republic. The biggest thing I say is please give us our space. That's all we ask for.
Good morning, Lieutenant Gordon Schenk with Minnesota State Patrol. This week's a special week for people to travel home, visit family and friends. Kids from college are going to come home. Just keep in mind that this winter storm, as you've heard before, is going to be significant. It's going to cause impacts when it comes to traveling. In the last 5 years, officers have responded to more than 80,000 crashes related to snow and inclement weather conditions. And of those, 20,000 have been injury and 200 have resulted in death. So these are things that we need to make sure we're driving to conditions on so that we can get to where we need to go safely. Be sure to check road conditions before you leave. Use 511, see what the latest conditions are. Also, if it's a really bad area or an area that you know gets a lot of crashes or something, it's not a bad idea to give yourself extra time to get where you're going, or just wait it out. Wait till it's a little more cleared up. Wait till MnDOT can get through there and do the great job they do of clearing the roads. Just give yourself extra time. Make sure you clear your vehicle of snow, headlights, obviously your windshield, the turn signal lights, all the tail lights, everything. Make sure that's all clear. Make sure your roof's clear as well, because you can get debris from the snow if you don't clear your roof. That's something that we see a lot. Make sure people do clear off the roofs of the vehicles. Give yourself plenty of space. And not only that, give the plows space as well. 10 car lengths is what MnDOT said, so make sure you're giving the plows that extra space to get where they need to go, whether they have to make a quick turn or whatever they need to do, just make sure you give them that extra space. Also give motorists space as well. Following too closely can cause crashes. If another vehicle's trying to stop and you're too close, you're gonna end up crashing. Make sure that you are driving conditions. Speed limits are ideal for areas where the roads are great condition to be able to travel, but just because the speed limit says what it is doesn't mean that you need to drive in those conditions. You may need to go slower. Those are things that you need to make sure that you're planning for, and that's why we say give yourself extra time to get where you need to go. Make sure if there is precipitation that your headlights are on. If you find yourself in an area where you run into a slick spot, look where you want to steer and turn the wheel that way. If you have ABS brakes, make sure you press down firm on the brakes. Do not pump those brakes if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're losing control of the vehicle. If you do end up in a crash, call 911. We'll get there as soon as we can. Make sure you stay in your vehicle and stay belted in. If you're going to be in your vehicle, if you need to check to make sure that snow is not blocking the exhaust, do it quickly, make sure it's not, and then get back in your vehicle and stay buckled in. We also ask that if we are on the side of the road, or MnDOT's on the side of the road, or even a tow driver's on the side of the road, it's required by law to move over. If you can't move over, you must significantly slow down until you get past that area. It's not required by law to move over for motorists in the ditch or on the shoulder, but as a common courtesy, we do ask that people do that as well if they can. Obviously, it comes down to whether it's safe to move over, and if it's not, please make sure you slow down. We're out here trying to clear the roads and make sure that we're assisting people, so just give that courtesy to move over if you can, and it is required by law as well. One other thing I will bring up with the holidays comes enforcement of DWIs, as we see a higher amount of people that are drinking and driving in this time. So starting tomorrow through December 28th, I believe, December 28th, there's going to be extra DWI enforcement. So make sure you're planning a sober ride, plan ahead, whether it's calling a friend, cab, ride share, whatever it may be. Make sure you're making plans to have a good time safely. That's what we ask. And the four things we'll say is make sure you put the distractions away, stay buckled up, watch your speeds, and find a sober ride. Now I'm going to introduce Kevin Reed. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Reed. I'm the Deputy Director for Homeland Security and Emergency Management. And we understand that everybody wants to get to where they need to be with their family and friends for the holiday, but we wanted you to take this storm seriously and plan out where you're going, how you're going to get there, and take your extra time. As a matter of fact, I just had this phone call with my daughter, who is coming home from college tonight, or was going to be coming home from college tonight, and we've talked about postponing that till tomorrow. Even though she's driven that road many a time, we talked about where she could stop and making sure that 10 o'clock tonight is not the time to drive. We'll be fine by seeing you tomorrow afternoon. So if we're telling this to our own families, we would suggest that we are being true to you all and saying, slow down, pay attention, and know where you're going. I would ask that you plan it out, make a phone call to who you're going to go visit, tell them how you're going to get there, so that if you're delayed or somewhere, they have some idea of where you're coming from. The other thing you'll need to take with you is we have a disaster kit right here. Make sure you have supplies, whether that's a small bottle of water, definitely a charger for your phone. Make sure you have a flashlight, a radio, your medication. You may take your medication and put it in your trunk in your suitcase. Make sure you have it accessible if you get stuck in the snow somewhere and it's going to be there a long time, or you're stopping to stay overnight somewhere because the weather gets bad. So take precautions. Make sure you get all those things inside. An extra pair of gloves is great. An extra pair of hat. An extra pair of boots, because if you get out of your car and get your shoes wet, get something to change into. So pay attention. As they've said before, the gentleman before me, pay attention to where you're going. Slow down. We want you to get there. We want you to have a good holiday, but we really want you to be alive when you get there. So pay attention to what's going on. Last February, we had a blizzard. You may remember, this has happened before in Minnesota. Over 600 people were rescued off the highway. We opened shelters if they were needed as warming stations. We would prefer you plan not to do that and slow down and get where you're going to go, and truly watch the Weather Service for those briefings on the weather, and 511 as if you're going to travel throughout the state. If you have people who haven't traveled in the state, talk to them today about how they're going to get there. I've heard of people postponing some plans just because of things going on. So we're just asking you to take abundance of caution, plan out your trip, stay in your car if something happens, dial 911, we'll get there as fast as we can, have a safety kit, and let people know that are expecting you where you're going to be and how you're going to get there. Thank you.
All right, we'll take some questions if you have them.
Does it help or hurt that it's overnight? Timing it's a little bit less people's safety and your job.
Timing the event of an event that occurs overnight is somewhat helpful in that there aren't as many cars out there, and we're able to get our crews in and are able to remove a lot of the snow beforehand. But as we found in recent years, travel is happening around the clock, and so we have an around the clock manufacturing processes, and so those things are continuing to happen. But certainly, fewer commuters on the roadway will help. Certainly, the commute tomorrow morning we will expect to be quite a challenge.
Yes, it is. I did get hurt. I ended up getting a whiplash and a concussion. It's not scary driving. The scary part is the people around you. If they don't respect you, don't give you the space you need, accidents happen. The semi driver, he was in a hurry, tried to pass me on the right side, and when I come around the gore area, the point, the ramp, we cut in the ramp to bring all the snow from left to right. When I came in, I cut back out, the trailer swung out, and he was coming through. Hit the trailer, or the tow plow went under his back wheels, about the middle of the trailer, and it jackknifed me and pushed me down the ramp. But the biggest thing that I can tell everybody is respect any plow. Give them the room, because we're not out there to cause problems or anything. We're there to make sure the motoring public is safe and the roads are safe for the speed you want to drive.
Sounds like it happened a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. but it wasn't, thank God.
When did the event happen?
I do believe that happened in February of 2018.
What do you say are the biggest mistakes you see from drivers driving around plows during these events?
In a hurry. The biggest thing is there's blind spots in every plow that you pull, even if it's a plow, a tow plow, anything with the snow behind you, it's a whiteout. So we got to pay attention to everything that's going on. We're trying to pay attention ahead of us, behind us, beside us. We have 4 controls to run. You got your box, your sander, your wing. The biggest thing is, like I said, give us room so we can do our job.
I think a big instance where people kind of get confused. You're going down the freeway, the plows are going on the right side, and you see drivers kind of behind. They're not sure if they can go around on the left lane or what.
Yep. Never pass a plow. Just give us our room, because there's times, for instance, when I got hit, we have to pull everything from left to right. Sometimes you have to swing out, clear the snow, you got to come back in. Well, all of a sudden there's a car there, and you don't know they're there because you're trying to watch ahead of you, in your mirrors. It's just blind spots. So biggest thing is give us our space. That's all we ask.
And did I hear you say it's 10 car lengths? Is that what?
The plow itself is 24 feet? So it swings out. So we're at an angle, but that plow is 24 feet wide. So if you're going down, say 169, you can plow from the inside fog line to the outside fog line. Tow plow can take that much snow and clean it.
Any other questions?
She was listening to me this morning, which was good. We've had a couple conversations. She goes to school in Fargo, so she would be traveling that 94 corridor. She was planning on leaving about 8 o'clock tonight after classes, and we've pushed that back to noon tomorrow. She appreciates to be able to sleep in tomorrow, but yeah, so we've talked about where she can stop, but we're really pushing her to stay there till about 10 o'clock or so, once get the snow through. And she's coming from the light side to the west side of the suburbs, so. Yep. Yeah, because we're worried about wind, and with this storm, you're worried about not only the snow, but the wind, and giving, like we said, giving them time to clear that. There's no rush to be here for her, or for us, to be here tonight. We'd rather see her tomorrow and get a much smoother, you have some people who are just getting driver's license this year, or they haven't driven in the snow, and those are every time we have the first snowfall of the year, people somewhat forget of how they drive, and we just want to remind people that to take a precaution and talk to people and be safe. It's better to be safe and make it there late than not make it there at all.
Since this is our first big nature snowstorm of the year, obviously we're having a press conference today, can you just talk a little bit about the urgency to get this message out to people?
Yeah, it's something we talk about every year. Those of people that have grown up in Minnesota are used to snow. People who've moved here may not be used to snow. So making sure that everybody knows what we are doing from the state's perspective to make sure that you get where you need to go safely. It's just a good reminder. I don't think everybody thinks about having a safety kit in their car during the summertime, where we may not need it, but when do we think about putting it back in? Usually it's after the first snow or after we've had something happen. So we'd like to get it out here prior to. Get your safety kit in your car. Just as a reminder, it's going to snow for the next couple of months. Don't wait till April to finally realize you need to have some things to keep you safe. Yes.
Usually we get to ease into this a little bit more. You get a few smaller snowfalls. Here we go from no snow on the ground to a big event. How does that change the way that you, attack this?
Our idea is, we start talking heavily about being prepared for snow and ice starting back in August and going through a bunch of training. We have had a couple of small events, but it is now real, and so we have to be ready when it does show up. And we may go for a path. Here we've got back-to-back storms now, so the first piece will be managing through this storm. We certainly expect that by end of Wednesday that conditions will be in pretty good shape, but then we'll have to start looking ahead to what's going to happen over the weekend. And so getting our equipment cleaned up, getting things ready to go. It's always that first snow where everybody gets to push a lot of snow around and we're dealing with a lot more traffic. It gets to be a little bit more of a challenge. Obviously, holiday travel week is going to be a challenging week to do this type of, the test drive.
But going from 0 to a lot in one go here, is that...
Well, we always talk about Halloween, and every Halloween comes up, and we can talk about what it's like to be prepared. And so while we may have, as being around, just generally not been looking much at it, as snow fighters, we have been talking about snow. And so it is, while it isn't on the ground, it's been in our mind. And so snow has been on our mind. It's been what we're doing. We've been watching this forecast for this event since probably about last Thursday. We started saying, we think there could be something here. And so in our mind, it almost becomes just another day at the office and the gentlemen drive around these rolling offices that are the levers and the buzzers and the things that they're looking at. I can't stress enough. Give them room to work. Give them room to be able to do their job. Let them look out the windshield. They'll be looking out the mirrors to see you coming, but I want them focused on the windshield, getting that roadway cleared for you. There may be a time when you can go around a plow, but boy, those are very few and far between, and you're far better off being behind us and on driving on something we've recently plowed than trying to get out ahead and be the next thing that we actually plow off the road, which unfortunately, when we're doing this large echelon plowing operations, we'll have people try to cut in between us, and they go from driving on roadway we just cleared into slush and heavy wet snow. They'll lose control, and there's more than one vehicle has actually been plowed off of the road by us, and we don't want that to happen.
Chad, can you talk a little bit about, you touched on some of the specific challenges with this type of snow, the heavy wet snow. Can you talk a little bit more about what specific challenge that poses to you guys and drivers on the road?
The biggest challenge on a heavy wet snow is going to be probably compaction. The idea that it will compact more with traffic, and when that compaction with more traffic, it may actually end up turning to ice. And so it's just getting that removed. We're going to be out there with a variety of different plows, as you can see on our plow behind us. We've got underbody plows, we've got plows in the front, we've got wings, we have tow plows. Lots of different ways to try to scrape that snow off the ground. But we're also going to be working with chemicals, trying to find, depending on the temperatures, a warmer snow like this, it's usually just the sodium chloride, which is the same salt that we have in the pile, but put into a liquid form or mixed with water. And that allows us to more quickly get that snow and ice off the roadway. That's the biggest stuff we're worried. The other challenges, as we've talked about, is that heavy wet snow accumulating on cars, being packed on cars, and falling off and just becoming something else we have to work on. I'm sorry. Correct. Yep. The piles behind us it's table salt that not quite as refined as what you'd find on your Thanksgiving table, though.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll just. Do you want to do another message for 511 as a great tool?
And we can encourage the use of our 511 and 511mn.org, the website. Also a 511 app that's available for any of your mobile devices. That is a key spot on being able to get what the latest road information is around the state. You'll get a chance to not only know what the road conditions are, but you'll be able to see incidents where crashes are reported. Again, all of those things that will help you plan that travel, and in some case, plan not to travel and make the decision to come home the day later or leave a little bit earlier. That helps us out tremendously and keeps everybody safer.
Thanksgiving dinners planned for your crews since they'll be probably...
Our crews I think they started fitting in Thanksgiving coming over last weekend, and they get very used to adjusting for holidays and birthdays, and I can't thank them enough for the work that they do to stand and be ready when the time comes. We talk about 511. We actually use 511 as an internal communication tool, so we can get information from our maintenance forces to our communication staff. So we will update it as conditions change. So we do a big push to try to do an update of all areas of the state before the 5:30, 6 a.m. commute. And then we're also going to be out there taking a look at, or we'll do updates throughout the storm event as things change. The other thing that's also available that's nice on 511 is the ability to look at plow cams. We have about 20 to 25% of our plows that actually have cameras that are taking images every 5 to 10 minutes and uploading that to 511. So you can get really a real-time snapshot of what our plow drivers are seeing. And that, again, is just another tool that allows you to make a smart travel choice.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks.